Hello and welcome back to Live from Paris. It's time now to take a look at all today's international newspapers with our press reviewer, Florence Vimeno. Now, Florence, a lot of the international press reacting to Angela Merkel's call for more political unity within the EU.
Absolutely. It's on the cover of the International Herald Tribune. Merkel urges ceding power step by step within the EU. And there you see the German Chancellor with the British Prime Minister David Cameron. Yesterday they met in Berlin. And there's the same photo actually on the cover of the Wall Street Journal Europe. Same hand gestures, very impressive. Now the two leaders are at odds over this issue, this call for more political integration. Cameron is against more political integration within the EU, and he wants to change course perhaps. And this is captured in a cartoon in The Independent, where you see Merkel portrayed as a blimp that's slowly but steadily moving forward towards more integration. And in the pilot's cabin there, you can see Cameron desperately trying to steer away. And the German Chancellor looks slightly annoyed by this.
He does look pretty annoyed in that cartoon, certainly.
And Die Welt suggests, an article in Die Welt suggests that Merkel isn't perhaps going to wait for everybody to get on the same page. Merkel is for two-speed Europe, says this article. And on certain levels, the EU already has two speeds. For instance, there's the Schengen Agreement as well as the Eurozone. So already areas where the EU works at two different levels. And the Chancellor says that although one must be open and always allow everyone to participate, we mustn't stop because one or the other will not go along. She says what we need is more Europe. And what she means by that is more control mechanisms to make sure that a crisis like the one we're in right now doesn't happen again. Now, before there's more union within the EU, perhaps the different countries are going to have to work out the differences, and because there's still a lot of topics that different European countries disagree on, and The Independent kindly puts all these together in a kind of idiot's guide to understanding the current crisis. It points out what Merkel, Cameron, and the rest of Europe want concerning key issues such as austerity, structural reform, banking transaction tax, a banking union, the ECB, and of course this prickly item, Eurobonds.
Indeed, and that's something that François Hollande has been talking about a lot as well. But moving on to another story now, Syria, getting a lot of attention in the international press a day after Kofi Annan, of course, as we mentioned in the bulletin, addressed the General Assembly and the Security Council at the UN.
That's right. He said the world must come together and act as one, while the UN Secretary General Ban Ki-moon had surprisingly very harsh words. He suggested that Assad had lost his all humanity, and this is on the cover of The Guardian there. You see that quote, Assad has lost humanity. Now, Annan's address came as news emerged of another massacre in Syria, this time near Hama, and UN observers who tried to go on the site were reportedly shot at, and this is on the cover of The Independent. Assad's gunmen drive UN away from site of massacre. And there's an interesting piece in the International Herald Tribune which focuses on a key relationship at the heart of the diplomatic negotiations concerning Syria, and this is the relationship between China and Russia. Now, this comes as President Vladimir Putin visited Beijing this week, and according to this article, China and Russia's relations look like they're in the pink of health. They're in lockstep concerning Syria. Their bilateral trades are flourishing, but this article points out that appearances are deceiving, and there are serious contradictions. Because according to this article, China and Russia have different views on fundamental views on the world and what they want from each other. And according to this article in the International Herald Tribune, their relationship will come under pressure in the next decade because, according to this article, China is on the way up. It's about to overtake Russia in a lot of ways, and this could taint their relationship.
Okay, well, one thing that Russia and China do agree on is that they are against any foreign military intervention in Syria. But members of the international community are starting to say it can be an option.
Absolutely. French President François Hollande said that he's left the possibility open. Many people in France are pushing for military intervention in Syria. And as you were saying earlier, one of them is a public intellectual and journalist Bernard-Henri Lévy. Now, he was key into pushing former French President Nicolas Sarkozy into intervening in Libya, and he's just come out with a documentary called The Oath of Tobruk, which talks about that intervention in Libya. Now, he's for military intervention in Syria, and he says that it would actually be a lot easier than in Libya, and he says that if France leads the way, the U.S. will follow.
Okay, well, thanks very much indeed, Florence Villemino, for that look at all today's international newspapers. That's just about it from us for now, but do stay with us here on France 24. More news very soon.
Join us in France's military quarters for a show dedicated to health in combat. From doctors in Syria to artificial blood in Afghanistan, we investigate war medicine on and off the battlefield.
Don't miss Health today, 4:40 p.m. Paris time on France 24.